The following podcast is being brought to you by the Defy Life Podcast Network.
This week on the Defy Life Podcast, the guys discuss NFL free agency, focusing in on the Dallas Cowboys and the Chicago Bears. They also give their opinions on free agency as a whole. All that and more. On to the show. Welcome to the Defy Life Podcast, powered by the Defy Life Podcast Network. This episode is sponsored by Bud Bottles, home of the Bud Bottle and the Bud Freshener. Please visit budbottles.com for your odor eliminating needs. This is episode 210. Y'all come on in, wipe your feet, close the door behind you. I'm your host, J.R. Glimph, joined as always by my wonderful co-hosts, Thomas Stevens, Alvin Glimph. What's good with you, Pooh?
Man, what's good, man? Happy to be back. What's going on, gentlemen?
Not much. Good to hear your voice, boy. Al, what's good?
Man, what's going on, fellas?
Hey,
good to be back. Good to be standing. Good to be free. And looking forward to the show.
No doubt. First, I want to give a quick apology to the last episode we aired with my son Lincoln. We had some technical difficulties, so we will be reproducing that show. So look out for that soon. So again, our apologies, but we'll make it right. Before we get too deep, as always, want to thank our patrons. Everybody, if you want to become a patron, please visit www.patreon.com/GoDefyLife to become an official Patreon. And you can support Defy Life for less than your favorite combo at your fast food restaurant. Also, if you want to find all of our podcasts, you can find us at DefyLifePods.com, where everyone is out there hubbed all together. Us, I speak the truth, just a hint. Everybody, Aftergate, Take a Knee for Marvel vs. DC, Chab Dog, everybody's out there. So check us out at DefyLifePods.com. You can also check out our written content at GoDefyLife.com. That's where all of our movie reviews, fashion articles, all that stuff is out there. Business, news, everything. Check us out. And last but definitely not least, check us out at for our gear, our branded apparel at DefyLifeGear.com. We got the spring line that just launched, so definitely check that out. It's got new tees and tanks and hats and all that stuff, so definitely check it out. And new swimsuits, they hot. So thank you everybody for joining us. Al, did I cover everything?
Brother, like a Jadakiss freestyle. Always good to the ears.
I will take it. On that note, I just got a quick question. You mentioned Jadakiss. So Jadakiss, like, he's my favorite. He's not my GOAT. I don't think he's the greatest rapper, but he's my favorite rapper of all time. So you just put that in my head. Al, who's your favorite rapper of all time?
My favorite rapper of all time. It's hard to say the favorite, but
yeah, I feel you.
But to distinguish some who I might refer to as the GOAT, I would say probably my favorite is Redman. Like somebody who I really love, but might not be in my top five.
Right. Okay. Pooh, what about you? Who's your favorite? Man, I don't even know. I know yours one the same.
Yeah, so I'm gonna throw that out the window. I'm gonna throw that, I'm gonna throw Park out the window, but I'm tired. Like, these two guys, I really, of course, other than Park, but these two guys, like, I just absolutely adore. Is Andre 3 Stacks and CeeLo Green.
Like Al said, they can't be in your top five though.
Oh, they can't be in my top five.
Who would that be?
Oh, they can't be in my top five. Probably the old. Just coming off my head, I can't really dive deep. But just coming off my head, probably Tip.
Mm-hmm.
Probably T.I.
That's
the old Tip. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Sorry to put you on the spot, but just thought about that. Pour me in an echo.
You are?
But yeah. Al, thanks for that. And also, I told you, Al, last week that a new Phife Dawg album dropped today.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I didn't have a chance to check it out yet, so I'm gonna check it out tomorrow. So everybody, check out the posthumous album by Phife, his first posthumous album by Phife Dawg of Tribe. So it should be pretty interesting.
Yeah, no doubt. I'll check that out.
And last question. I actually had this question planned, and I plan to put y'all on the spot before we start talking about free agency. And for that reason, because I don't want to be considered a typical old head, and we talking about Phife Dawg in 2022, and we don't mention nobody else new school. So, any new artists y'all deem worthy of anybody checking out? Or current artists, got to be necessarily new, but anything new, y'all, any current or new artists have dropped?
That's a good question.
And I'll give y'all mine while you think. I know I'm putting you on the spot.
Go ahead.
But Akeem Ali is one. He's dropping a lot of freestyles and on TikTok, but I've been digging him for about a year now. And another one is Denzel Curry. He just dropped a new joint, and it's pretty dope. So those are two artists I think worthy of everybody checking out. And NLE Chopper. I always ask my kids who they listening to now, and that was the one Lincoln's listening to. So he's not bad for a new guy.
And what was his name?
NLE Chopper.
Okay. Yeah, I got nobody.
Okay.
I was checking out what's his name, Benny the Butcher.
Oh yeah.
I was just checking out some things on here. He's pretty dope.
Yeah.
I mean, if they count.
Oh, okay.
Then yeah, Benny the Butcher, Conway the Machine, R.J. Payne, like that whole crew, and there was a chick up there too, Shay Noir, N-O-I-R. I'm sure I'm butchering the second name, but yeah, that whole crew out of Buffalo, I'm showing a lot of love to.
Absolutely, yeah. All right. Well, yeah. So yeah, I just like to check in every once in a while because, again, I don't want to be a typical old head saying new music is trash and we don't listen to it. So, y'all definitely check them out.
I won't say it's trash. I don't listen to it,
right?
To be honest, but I ain't gonna call it trash because I just don't. I don't listen to it to call it trash.
Right.
So I'd have to listen to it before I call it trash.
Cool. No doubt. Yeah, I always say now. I never get into debates about music, about hip hop now, unless both people can name at least three artists from 20 years ago, and at least three artists from now. So I never get in that whose era is better unless you, like you said, unless you've listened to it enough to know.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so. With that out of the way, let's talk some NFL free agency. The NFL has no offseason. So now we are in the portion of the NFL season that is free agency, the first round of free agency. First week of free agency just ended. And I know I'm sure everybody, unless you just don't give a damn or you've been living under a rock, been a lot of big names and a lot of big money flying around. So we're going to dig into it. First, we're going to discuss as a whole. I got some questions for y'all for league-wide opinions. Al, you first. Thus far, and what do you think is the best trade or signing in NFL free agency, though, so far?
Wow. From a true talent perspective, I really like Von Miller going to Buffalo.
Okay.
I think, where their defense was last year and kind of picking up an additional pass rusher who really has been pretty consistent even in his older age. I mean, he's not like 40 or nothing, but getting up there for NFL player.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was a major. I do have some questions about the length and amount of money, but I look at it kind of as they kind of went all in, and I can appreciate it from a talent perspective, but just overall contract and player and compensation, I would go with Davonte to the Raiders. And I think, in a team in a division that has been stacking up, and a team that took a lot of bad PR hits last year, to end up with arguably the best wide receiver in the game, now linking him up with your quarterback who's been consistent but hasn't honestly had that weapon ever. I think that might get him into the playoffs. I still think they are second best team, probably third best team, maybe even fourth best team in their division.
This is loaded.
It is loaded, but I do, everything being everything, I think that was a serious play.
Okay. Yeah, Davonte Adams is huge. I mean, he's absolutely the best receiver that Derek Carr's had since a young Amari Cooper. Yeah. Pooh, who's your best signing or trade?
I'm gonna go with Deshaun Watson. I think. Well, I do want to hit on Adams. I think they have three people that you just can't cover, with one guy: Davonte Adams, Hunter Renfrow, and Darren Waller. So I do think that offense is going to be absolutely tremendous. But I think Deshaun puts Cleveland in play, even though Cleveland is Cleveland with the culture and everything. They lost some wide receivers, but I think he's that talented to put them in play. They have arguably the best running back in the game, arguably the best offensive line in the game, and their receivers are pretty talented. They were young, they're big, they're strong, they're fast. I like Deshaun. Maybe I'm a little biased. You know how I feel about Deshaun, but I like Deshaun to the Browns.
Okay. Quick follow-up question, then, Pooh. If Deshaun Watson is suspended on the commissioner's list, let's say for 6 to 8 games,
okay,
which it's likely that he will,
right? Yeah, 4 to 8. I'm thinking.
Can they overcome not having him or not having a decent quarterback and being out of contention likely before the season, before he even gets back? Can they overcome that, or does him being out and starting off on the wrong foot possibly kind of keep feeding that bad culture and it just goes to shit from there?
That's a really good question. It's definitely loaded on both ends. I think that if he's suspended for 8, I'm thinking 4 to 8. If he's suspended for worst case scenario 8, I think they can win 3. Because what's the kid's name? He's their backup, right? Case Keenum.
They just traded him to the Bills.
Ooh.
I don't know who their backup is now.
Ooh. Probably be Mike Glennon. I'll just say Mike.
Somebody of that ilk.
Yeah. Hey, and that's gonna be terrible. But they should lean on the run game anyway. Right. So I think that out of the first 8, I think they can win 3. I guess, but you have to see the schedule. So now they're upside down. Do I think they make the playoffs? Probably not. So definitely looking in the next season. But you never know what can happen. You never know who can have injuries. You never know who can come in contention. But it's probably highly unlikely that they go this year if that happens, if he gets 8 games taken away. But hopefully they'll be able to build on, for the upcoming year, which I think they will. I think Deshaun's going to be lights out.
No doubt. Yeah, it's just speaking of loaded divisions, the AFC North is loaded now too. So it's going to be interesting to see where they stand whenever he's available to play.
And Jay, to the fact that they load the division games near the end of the year now, I think that's going to be huge too.
Yeah, that's true. And of course, we know who that quarterback, the backup quarterback, won't be. Baker Mayfield. We know that. But you know what I think would be cool? Is Baker's commercials, which are really, I love his commercials, which have kind of become a detriment now because of how people view him. But it would be cool is once he's traded or released or whatever. I mean, if they set it up as if he's just moving, like he's moving to a new house in a new city, and just continue the commercials, I think that'd be pretty cool. But anyway, Al, what's your worst signing or trade?
I think while I understand what they had to do it, they kind of look real ridiculous right now, and that's the Falcons. And
Keon would love to hear you say this.
Like, I am in support of Matt Ryan no longer being a quarterback. But when you play out what has happened over the last 12 months, when you could have drafted Justin Fields, then, and he should have been let go last year. Like, I would have been an advocate for letting go Matt Ryan last year, moving on. But you decide to wait a year, maybe because you realize that you messed up on Justin Fields, make a public move, which you had to try to get Deshaun. Don't end up with Deshaun Watson. And now you're forced to trade, a decent quarterback, and you got something for him, but you took a crazy salary cap hit and probably didn't get as much as you would have got a year ago, or even if you had kind of kept a little bit more secret because you didn't have any leverage. So that to me is the worst. Falcons and Matt Ryan.
Yeah, I agree. Keon has written me several novels over the past week via text. And yeah, you pretty much are in line with what he's saying. Keon, everybody out there is one of our former co-hosts and is a big Falcons fan. Mm-hmm. But he basically said what you said. He said the GM has no clue what he's doing. He's only been there a year and a half, and he needs to be let go. Because when you interview somebody, you can't, and you realize that you hired the wrong person. He says you can't make a mistake twice and hang on to them just out of pride. And I get it. But in football, I don't believe in just churning out GMs and coaches because you never establish a good culture. So I believe in keeping somebody at least 3 years and let their plan play out. But like you said, and I'll just go back through the timeline. First he extended Matt Ryan's contract, which led to the huge cap situation, huge cap hit. Then you decide to go after Deshaun Watson, like you said, and then you're forced to trade Matt Ryan because it was a public situation. He don't want to be there. And before you realize you missed out on Deshaun Watson, you were being offered a second and a third from the Colts. But then after they realized you didn't have any more leverage because you missed out on Watson, they pulled the second and only gave you a third. And to make it even worse, they have 2 third-round picks, and they offered you the lowest one. So now it's like you have no leverage and teams are just punking you. And that's Keon's thing, is now everybody going to think we a bunch of pussies and they can just do what they want to do with our GM. But on the movie Draft Day, like when you go back and revisit a trade, that offer no longer stands. It's a whole new situation. Mm-hmm. So, but I do agree. Falcons are in a bad spot, and now they've got Marcus Mariota as their starter unless they draft somebody. But yeah, it ain't looking good. But I also blame Arthur Blank because out of all the coaches that all the GMs that he interviewed, only Fontenot, the current GM, made him believe that this was not a rebuild, that they could win now. And he was wrong, obviously, and now they're rebuilding. So, hired the wrong guy. But all that, is water under the bridge. They got what they got. Pooh, who's your worst signing or trade?
Man, I got to bring it on home with the Falcons and Matty Ice. No way I let Matty Ice go for Marcus Mariota. I'm sorry. I see what Marcus Mariota can do. I'll bring in Baker for that 1 year option and instead of to see what he can do. No way I'm going in with that. But like you said, because last year we were offering them a second round, like a second and a fifth once we lost out on what's the kid name from the Seahawks, Russell Wilson.
Mm-hmm.
Once we lost out on Russell Wilson, and we couldn't get in the Deshaun sweepstakes, so we offered them like a second and a fifth for Matt Ryan because we didn't think we were going to get to a quarterback in the draft, right. So we were going to go with the old guy, to bridge us because we were a veteran team and we felt like we could win now.
Right.
But they turned the deal down, like you said. They extended Matt. We can keep Matt for 3 more years. We're gonna draft Pitts. So and now they end up getting, less for Matt and moving Matt to a better arrangement, better team, better offense, better defense, better O-line. So Matt has a chance.
Mm-hmm.
So that was to me that was horrible with the Falcons.
Yeah, I agree. One downside for Matt though, he's got to live in Indiana now. But yeah, why the Colts keep getting the same dude? Like after Andrew Luck, like they went and got Phillip Rivers, Carson Wentz, and now Matt Ryan. Like they just keep getting the same dude, like a dude who used to be pretty good, a dude who used to be great, really good, and he's at the end of his career. Like at some point, they're gonna realize that they got to invest in a young quarterback to build a future on. And much like head coaches and GMs, you don't want to keep churning out a new one every year, every other year, because you can't establish a culture and an identity. Right. And it would seem like anybody would understand that it would be the Colts after 20 years of 30 years pretty much of Peyton Manning and Andrew Luck. Like I would think they would get it, but they don't.
Right.
Oh, Al. So now, who's your most surprising trade or signing?
Honestly, I was shocked on the Russell Wilson trade. I just didn't expect him to end up in Denver.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean Davonte too, but because I really didn't expect Davonte. I thought when I just got fooled. Aaron's coming back, then they had some type of communication, and then therefore Davonte was hanging tough. But so that kind of shocked me. But definitely the Russell move, and particularly I expected Russell to be gone, but I didn't expect him to end up with Denver. And so that's gonna be must see TV. All of those matchups, the AFC West.
Yeah, it's gonna be like reminiscent of I can't even remember like a quarterback division, a division that was so driven by quarterbacks, and like since I've been watching football. But yeah, it's gonna be fun. Pooh, what's your worst trade or signing so far?
Oh, best. We're on best, right? Yeah.
No, I'm sorry. Most surprising. I'm sorry.
Yeah, most surprising. Man, the Davonte Adams thing, it did catch me completely off guard once they decided to bring back. Well, when Aaron decided to come back, but I have to say Russell Wilson as well, because the year before I think we offered him 3 first-round picks and a player as well, and they waived that and said nowhere they're gonna trade Russell. He's 32, 33 years old, and he's still ascending, and so I just felt like he would be a Seahawk for the foreseeable future. And the very next year, the team is in decline, and he's out. That really surprised me.
Yeah, absolutely. When like human nature, I always pay attention to like human behavior, right? And the way people word things is always intriguing to me. So last year, when Russell Wilson, when there was reports that he wanted out, the Seahawks came out and said, "There's no way we're trading him." Like you said, we're not trading him. He's an integral part of this organization. We're not trading him. No way. This year, same connotation, totally different words. They said, we have no intention of trading Russell Wilson. All right. And when I saw that, I was like, oh, yeah, he's out. Which leads me to this. It is funny how, how we always say, like, the NBA is a players' league and the NFL is a owners' league. And now, not across the board, but especially with quarterbacks, with all these trades, it's kind of NBA-like. And now we're seeing quarterbacks demanding trades with no trade clauses and waiving the block on the trade. Like, the NFL is becoming more and more of a players' league. You see guys getting, fully guaranteed contracts.
Agreed, Jay. Agreed. And I like it.
Absolutely.
I like it. Yeah. I like it.
I like it as well, because with the contract structure the way they are in the NFL, so much of the leverage and power has sat with the owner. So I definitely like how it is shifting to some players. The ones who quarterbacks are more powerful, talented players. I do like it as well.
Yeah.
The only thing, it's two things I want gone, really, and that's I'm good with the franchise tag, right, for 1 year, all right? However, I would love to see the rookie deal only a 3-year deal and with the team option of 4. Team option or franchise, how we want to do it that 4th year. I hate to see a player for a team with a team for 6 years before they have an opportunity to get the back. And those first round players, second round players, they can redo the contract after the first year at any time.
They can, but it's still a 4-year deal. But they can restructure it and tear it up and do a new one. So all rookies get a 4-year. Go ahead.
No, I just hate for a guy to be in a place for 6 years, before they have a chance to go make some money. Because that's over half, the NFL expected career span, 6 years.
Right. Yeah. My only concern with that, and I definitely feel you. Like I hate to see guys that have to wait when they're out producing their contract.
Right.
My only concern with that is I don't want to see the NFL completely turn into the NBA, where by the time guys develop and become who they're going to be, they're on a different team.
Right.
And like the Tracy McGrady effect, I always call it. Like by the time this young dude is a star, he can just go where he wants to, and it just creates too much turnover. And I always complain about this anyway with the NBA is, when you have a team, that's why I don't have a team, because you're in a rooting for players, and if you have a team, you're just rooting for a jersey, because nobody really sticks around in the NBA. There's so much turnover. So I don't want that to happen completely to the NFL, but I do want to see guys get paid, like you said, before their window is closed. Especially with positions like running backs, where after 6 years, their career is about done.
So you just reminded me, Jay, that I have I got some breaking news special announcement that I can say for the end of the show, but I got something to drop to our listeners.
Okay. Oh shit. Okay. We'll make sure we get the breaking news music out.
Yeah, breaking news.
Word. Well, with that being said, man, let's talk some Cowboys and Bears. Al, what do you think about? You took one of my favorite Steelers, so let's get that out the way. You got James Washington, but I knew he wasn't coming back. He never, they ain't throwing the ball enough anyway. But what do you think about Cowboys offseason so far? What you like, what you don't like?
So I think, this was a interesting offseason for the Cowboys. Definitely disappointing loss. So, had to get over that sting and kind of move on from the end of the season and really make some hard cuts because financially they were having some cap issues, and especially with some players in the future that they're going to want to pay. So, and they were thinking about trying to keep. So, Amari Cooper, initially was one of the first moves, if not the first move in free agency, and he gets traded to Cleveland to clear some cap. But that kind of leads me to what I liked in that we kept Gallup, who I think is a quality wide receiver, and you also moved Cooper out the way for CeeDee Lamb to now be your feature wide receiver. And there's no more doubt. And I like that move as well. So James Washington, I wonder what we're getting because he didn't play a lot due to Claypool and Juju and what's the young boy that kept dropping the passes?
Deontay Johnson, yeah.
Deontay, right? So I hope that he's more like what I saw the first season, second season, because I noticed that kid. And so we can get that player. He's still kind of young. I'm really happy with what we did on offense. Lost Lyle Collins, another financial move. Not surprised, but I always liked him, to be honest. So that he ended up in Cincinnati, I thought was a good thing. I like Lyle Collins, honestly. So hopefully he helps them, Cincinnati, be better this year with a huge need in terms of their offensive line. Defense, not much happening. We didn't get Randy Gregory, which was crazy. How he commits and then ends up signing with Denver. But everything being everything, I'm looking at the money that they was going to pay him. I'm all right. He was a talented player, but he, had his issues, sometimes was injured, and we only really saw one really good season from him, which was last season. So when I saw the amount of money they were betting on him, I was like, wow, that's a nice come up. So I wish him the best because, even though he jetted, I rooted for him when he was with the Cowboys, especially with all the issues he was going through. I was happy to see that the brother persevered and overcame what he was dealing with. And I wish him nothing but success. But that was a lot of money and taking up a lot of money, which they used to keep some other defensive pass rush dudes. So everything being everything, I'm hoping we can get a player or two out the draft and some of our young boys take the next step. So I would give it a solid B-, just because, ain't no headliners and increasing of talent being necessarily added. So I give it a solid B-.
Okay. Yeah. Two things. I don't feel, since y'all took James Washington, I don't feel bad for Randy Gregory jilting y'all. I'm just kidding. But one thing I do like about the James Washington side, I know you asking what you're getting. So I love James Washington because, solid hands, great combat ball catchers, or, people draped all over him. He's not a guy who gets a lot of separation. So with that, you better be able to catch combat passes, right? Mm-hmm. So he's excellent at that, times the ball well, tracks the ball well. So, but also you're getting a guy who can play in the slot, he can play on the outside, so it'll allow you guys to continue to move CeeDee Lamb around as well, so people can just focus on him on the outside, which was kind of what happened to Amari Cooper, where he could only play on the outside. And teams were able to, to game plan, knowing that was that he wasn't going to move around. So I think it allows y'all to be interchangeable with Gallup and Lamb and Washington. So that's a good look.
Yeah, I didn't think about that. He's the other thing is he's a local kid,
Right.
kid out of Texas. So
And he was a Cowboy in college.
yeah. Like Des Bryant, apparently.
Right. Yep.
Yeah. So that's cool.
Cool. Broke all of Dez's records at Oklahoma State. So, yeah.
Well, come on and break the ones he got at Dallas.
And he did it with Mason Rudolph as his quarterback.
Wow. That's a little better than that.
Oh man. Pooh, what's your take on the Bears offseason thus far?
Hated it, man.
It ain't over yet. Don't talk about it in past tense. It's still alive.
I hate it. I don't think we've done anything. We got rid of Khalil Mack. Initially, I was totally upset, but I don't miss a Bears game. I haven't missed a Bears game in years. So I know Khalil Mack isn't Khalil Mack, the Khalil Mack of old, but I still think that, we could have got more than the second and the 19th 100 pick. I think we could have got a little more if we would have, maybe from someone else. I don't know, but I'm pretty sure we probably took the best deal. I don't even know if we had it out there, but I just think we could have gotten more for Khalil Mack, and I don't think we did anything else. And I see the guys. I did research and read on the young guys. Some of the guys we picked up, the kid out of Indy, and the guard we picked up. They seem to be solid players, but no one that makes me go, we're making headway in free agency. I just don't feel that way. Pringle, I like Pringle, big kid, fast kid, I think 6'1", on like a 4.3, real solid, but I don't feel good, man. I don't feel good.
Yeah, I feel you. Especially with a young quarterback, you want to bring in some weapons and protect them. So I think y'all addressing those needs. I'm just not sure about the players y'all addressed them with. But we'll see. Because one thing, as just a football fan in general, what you hate to see is a young quarterback who's running for his life every play. So, and losing your best offensive lineman. I think y'all replaced him with, what's the guard y'all got? Patrick?
Yeah.
In Green Bay?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know much about him. I just saw his name. I know he and James Daniels, though. Thank you, by the way. But yeah, Chicago's, y'all are going to be interesting because, on defense, if, like you said, Khalil Mack is, he was the Khalil Mack of old. He's an old Khalil Mack now. So you got what you could get for him, I guess. Like, because I'm thinking if Matt Ryan, an old quarterback, gets you a 3rd round pick, an old pass rush ain't gonna get you much more. So I think a second wasn't bad.
I mean, just the year before, he was banged up, but he only played about 8 games and he had about 7 sacks. He still was producing, and he was on on a terrible ankle, But I don't know. I just think we could have got a tad bit more. Get a receiver from the. I don't know, man. I'm not the GM.
Well, like I told you, I would hope that they took the best deal they could get.
I will hope. I will hope.
Yeah, but last question for y'all, and we're gonna dig a whole lot deeper into this question as we move forward. But as of right now, Al, what is the Cowboys' biggest draft need? And this will also help me out as I do these mock drafts. By the way, Lincoln is being trained on taking over the mock drafts of the website. So,
Wow.
Kids looking forward to it. But yeah, who do you think right now, or what do you think is the biggest draft need for the Cowboys?
Yeah. I definitely think we are at best player available we've plugged holes enough to where we don't have to reach. That being said, the three positions that I would love the best player to be one of these positions so that we can take the best player would be an offensive lineman, like interior would be my preference. If one of the stud wide receivers slips, I would definitely try to snatch that one up, like the cat from Alabama.
Jameson Williams.
Him. If with his knee, if he slips down to us, I would love for them to snatch him up. If defensive tackle, and I know this isn't going to happen, but what the hell, we do a podcast for a reason. Nothing wrong with a brother expressing some dreams on the podcast. If the defensive tackle out of Georgia,
Jordan Davis.
If everybody was to catch amnesia and allow that dude to slip down to the Cowboys, I think he's my favorite player in the draft. Okay. I wouldn't put him the number one prospect, but he's the one that I'm gonna be rooting for. It don't really matter what team he goes to. I liked him in college. He stood out on plays. And he shows out at the combine. I'm like, see, I knew there was a reason I was feeling you on the field. He's a beast. And so I like him. So I will put it in that order: wide receiver, offensive lineman, or defensive tackle.
Okay. What if I told you that Jordan Davis was not the best player on Georgia's defense?
I would agree.
What if I told you Jordan Davis is not the best defensive tackle on Georgia's defense?
I kind of like the other dude, but I prefer this one. I wouldn't argue with you because I can't think of his name, but the other one's pretty good too. Yeah, but the other one, we got them. You know what I mean? Like, we got to play up that mold.
Yeah.
We don't have a big monster detail.
Right. Yeah. Davonte Wyatt is his name.
Yes.
And now that you put it that way, I see where you're going.
Right. We got Gallimore, Neville Gallimore, Tristan Hill, kid out of UCLA that I never pronounce his name right.
Diggy Oziggy Dua.
That guy, yeah. Right? So we got that 290, 300. That team. We need a beast.
Yeah. So you got a bunch of 3 techs. You need a 1 tech.
We got it. Thank you. We need a 1 tech. Right. Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. So you put it that way, I feel you. But you also said something very key. You ain't got a chance in getting that dude.
It ain't.
Yeah, he'd be lucky at this point to make it out of the top 12.
Start spreading rumors.
Right.
I won't mess up my man.
Oh man, yeah, that dude is a monster. So, yeah, and and I was working on a mock today, and I actually slotted. I think it was Davonte Watt. Just practice mocks, just seeing how stuff works out. So Davonte Watt, I had slotted to y'all. So just want to make sure I'm on the right track. So D tackle was one of the spots. All right, Pooh. Right now, what do you think is the 3 biggest draft needs for the Bears?
Man, that's tough. I'm like Al initially. We had best player available. I think anything except QB
and tight end.
And man, I don't know, man. I watched this kid, man, and I just don't. I just don't know, man.
Well, they ain't happening anyway. Ain't no good tight ends in this class. So
right, okay. Because when I thought Njoku was coming out, I was head over heels. I was like, let's go get him. Because Kmet, like, okay, so we turn things around and we start to target him, and he's dropping him, and like he's just not getting to him. And I was like, he doesn't look like the same guy from Notre Dame at all. But maybe it was the scheme, and maybe it was his confidence. I don't know. So, I mean, you're right. I'll give him another year. But, any we need anything, man. We need corner. We need guard. We need safety. I think our tackle is going to be okay. I think we're going to have the 2 second-year guys at tackle, and I actually think they're going to be pretty solid. And then we drafted another guy. I can't remember his name, but he played well too. So I that's why I kind of think that's why we let Daniels get out the door. And then the guy, the Patrick, the kid we got in, he's supposed to be solid. But we need any and everything. We need any and everything. We suck. We need any and everything.
Okay. And yeah, but you got the most important piece. You got your quarterback.
Yeah, and I think our strongest position right now, and we got to see how the tackles play. I really do like them, but I think our strongest area is linebacker.
Yeah, I agree.
Is linebacker, and I really was like, man, we need to bring in Miles Jack to get some speed out there. However, we went with Morrow because he's supposed to be like top 10 in the league in coverage. So the system that we're gonna be playing, we're gonna need that guy. So we'll see how it goes.
Who y'all get?
But Ogletree. What's his name? Morrow is it the Raiders?
I don't know.
That's why Morrow.
What's his first name?
Nick. I think is it Nick?
Oh, okay. Yeah, from the Raiders. I know who you're talking about. Was he with the
Like
Raiders?
he didn't. Yeah, from the Raiders. Like he didn't wow me. I was all about Miles Jack with that 4.4 and running and all over the place. And hey, Nicholas Morrow. Yeah. So I was all about just let that guy get out there and play, and we'll play Ogletree and the B Smith, but I don't know. He just didn't look like a really good player to me, but maybe I wasn't focused on him because everybody on the defense looked terrible except Denzel Curry, man. It just seemed like he made every tackle.
Right.
And Adam, is his name Adam, the safety?
Yeah,
no, not Adam.
Not Adam.
What's the safety name?
Jonathan. What's his name? I know you're talking about.
He's an animal.
Kid that got stiff armed in the next week by Najee Harris. I know you're talking about. Jonathan
Abrams. Yeah. Abrams a beast though.
Yeah, he still got stiff armed in the next week by Najee Harris. But and another kid but I know why they let Morrow go for that Diablo kid. So that's why they let him go.
I like Diablo.
Yeah, he's a Winston-Salem kid.
Okay.
Oh yeah?
He's an athlete.
Yeah, he is. Okay. But yeah, man. Again, I think Miles Jack was considering Chicago until Mike Tomlin gave him a call, and he said that was it. That's all he needed was Mike T to call him.
Oh, I thought he just wanted to play with Mr. Trubisky.
So that was what I was just about to talk about. So Al said two things. I'll say this first. We talked about the AFC West and how quarterback driven it is. You got Russell Wilson, Justin Herbert, Pat Mahomes, and who am I missing?
Carr.
Derek Carr. Totally dominant, best quarterback position, like division in the league. The AFC North ain't far behind right now with Deshaun Watson, Lamar Jackson. Who am I missing? Joe Burrow, and of course Mitchell Trubisky. So I said, man, it's going to be tough for the next 10 years. We got to play those three guys twice a year, and they got to play at least for the next 2 years. They got to play Mitchell Trubisky. So our second question is, Pooh, same thing Al asked. What am I getting in Mitchell Trubisky, man?
Man, he can. His arm is it can be erratic at times. When he was playing for us, he didn't really. At times, he didn't trust what he saw. Like the guy had to really, really break and be open before he threw it.
Oh, he had to be college open.
So what happened?
He had to be college open.
Yeah, he had to be right. He wasn't really zipping, in tight windows or anything of that nature. He was, of course, he was great on the move, rolling out left, rolling out right, or the first read guy, first at times second read guy, and he's a complete monster when his confidence is up. When his confidence is up, you'll be, man, this is a top 15 guy, with his confidence going. But of course, when he get down, you don't really think that he's the guy that's gonna bring you back from a 21-0 lead. I mean, deficit. But like I say, the guy made the Pro Bowl. He played really well. His third year in the league. For some odd reason, I've never seen it. Guy makes a Pro Bowl and the head coach go out and change the entire offense, which a guy just won 12 games and went to the Pro Bowl. Why? I don't know. So that could it's obvious, not maybe. It was obvious that system didn't fit what the guy does best. And who knows what he could have been if he was still been in that offense. So hopefully, I know the Steelers like to do what they do, but hopefully, they're putting a lot of the nuances in that was in that offense. But it seems like he could run the Bills offense well too. So, hey, we'll see.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's the one thing I think that stood out about Trubisky is his athleticism and his ability to move.
Right.
Because with Matt Canada, our first-year offensive coordinator last year, he's a career-long college coordinator, and with a lot of the schemes and things that they run in college offenses requires a lot of motion and a lot of same thing the Bills ran, and what a lot of NFL teams are incorporating now. It was impossible for us to do that with Old Man River at quarterback. As much as we love Ben, he's a dinosaur. So don't get me wrong. I'm not saying Mitchell Trubisky is a better quarterback than Ben Roethlisberger, but he's a better fit for what the Steelers need to allow Matt Canada to run his entire offense. And when you consider, when you're dealing with an 18-year veteran, you're going to be able to run your whole offense because most of it, or at least half of it, is going to be, hey, this is what I like. I've been here for 18 years. Let's run this. So, right. You can't incorporate. So Lincoln hates Matt Canada because he's not football knowledgeable and experienced enough to know that, if you ain't got the right pieces, you can't run your entire offense. So I'm trying to explain that to him. So I told him, if you're an offensive guard, if I put you at running back, you ain't going to have the tools to be successful. I set you up for failure. So we got it. So that's essentially what we were doing. Like we had a statue trying to run an RPO offense, which wasn't happening. So that's the biggest hope I got for Mitch is that, he's mobile enough and he's had some experience to kind of learn from his mistakes in the past and be a better quarterback.
Yeah, I think we've all seen enough football to know that just because a young quarterback does not have success, that does not mean that he can't go to another team where it's a better fit and with some time to learn, be a better quarterback and have a decent NFL career. So he's the definite candidate. He's in a good situation with a running game, a defensive minded coach who's coached a young quarterback before. So I like the move, even though, it's going to be some interesting conversations over time.
Right.
And I think though it's going to take in this division, he's going to have a career year though for the Steelers to be successful because it's just in a hard division.
Right. Yeah. But and again, I'm not comparing them as players, but you see what the mobility of Lamar Jackson allows their running game to be. So we can, because there was no threat of Ben running, so you didn't have to account for him in the running game. So just the fact that you have to account for Mitch as a runner, I think is going to mean a ton to that offense. So.
And I don't think it has to be a career year. If he plays like he did that third year with us, that Pro Bowl year, Pittsburgh will be just fine. 3,000 yards passing, 3,500 yards passing, about 700 yards rushing. I think he had like 20 touchdown passes, 22, 5 rushing around there. That was a Pro Bowl year for him. So if he putting up those numbers right there, and I don't think he had like 7 picks. If he putting up numbers like that, I think Pittsburgh will be just fine.
Agreed. So there is hope. It wasn't as bad as I initially thought it was when they first signed him. But again, for 2 years, $14 million, that's backup money.
Yep.
Yeah. That's backup money. And I'm gonna say this, and I'm done with it. It's not far fetched because he's done it before.
Right, and that's what I was saying. He's got a pedigree,
and he's done it, and he did it for a complete season. Like he didn't have a 5 game; he did it for an entire season.
Right.
So the capability is there.
Right.
So in your mocks, do you have Pittsburgh drafting a quarterback?
I do not. One, because I'll just go through them individually. So with Malik Willis, there's no way he's making it to us.
Mm-hmm.
So especially with the pro day he had today, and I don't put that much stock in the pro days, but people do. He won't make it out of the top 10, I don't think, at this point. And we don't have the ammunition to go up and get him if we want him that bad. Now, I think Pittsburgh loves him, but they just ain't going to be able to get him. I don't think they're that high on Matt Corral, which I love Matt Corral, but I don't think Pittsburgh is that high on him. They haven't shown the interest, at least. And they are, and Kenny Pickett's right in their backyard. I don't think he makes it to them either. I don't think he gets past Washington. So I don't. My dream scenario, and we'll go deeper into these probably next week. But my dream scenario is if Desmond Ridder from Cincinnati falls to us in the second round. But that's why it's a dream. I don't think it's going to happen. So I don't have Pittsburgh selecting a quarterback. I don't think they should at this point. Even if one of them falls, if Malik Willis falls, I think they will. Otherwise, hell no, I don't think they will. So,
yeah, I agree.
Yeah. But yeah, like I said, we'll continue to dig deeper into the draft and as free agency looms, and then second round of free agency after the draft when guys get cut and sign with new teams. We'll be here to talk about that as well. But that's about all we got, except for one thing. Al, what is your breaking news here from the Defy Life Studios?
Thank you. Live from Nebraska. So, let me just say, kind of use an analogy before I tell my little story. So, as people get middle-aged, occasionally they either through be a widow or a long marriage, start questioning their relationship. And then a young Slimmy crosses their path and it gets their attention, and then they actually move on, or at least move out the house, right? Y'all, we all done seen this play out before.
I'm afraid of where this is going.
Okay, so let me just throw that out there to give people.
You should see the way I'm squinching my eyes.
Yeah, I got one eyebrow up right now.
To give me some, what's the word? Grace and empathy, because I ain't the first person to do this. Okay, so I'm gonna take y'all back a couple of years. So a couple of years ago, Kobe Bryant, surprisingly, the Mamba, dies in a plane crash. And like many in the world, especially the sports world, were devastated. Me being a Laker fan, me being a Mamba fan, it like hurt me to my core, shook me. And to this day, as people think about celebrity passing away and impacting you, Like he's right up there, if not the top. For whatever reason, don't know why, but it has definitely just rocked me. And was sad for a while. My just being a Laker fan just really wasn't the same. And even when they won the championship, like it was like, eh. And I didn't feel it like I should have when I'm rooting for a team. And, I was like, well, maybe it's COVID. We were all going through a lot at the time. Maybe that's why I don't really care so much. Maybe it's because it was on a bubble. And maybe that's why I don't really care so much. And I'll be honest, maybe it was LeBron. I was like, because, I had my issues with hating on LeBron in the past. It just didn't feel right. I don't know what it was. And then fast forward, we come to this season, and it is like one of the most dysfunctional years I've ever seen play out with the Lakers. Mm-hmm. At the same time as this is playing out, I'm noticing this young stud called Ja Morant.
I know, yeah.
And if y'all remember a few weeks back, there was a stretch where every game, if not every other game, Ja Morant was doing something unseen before. And I'm watching this dude and watching his games and falling in love with his talent. Like, I'm a big Ja Morant fan. I claim it. I own it. But I'm like, but you got a relationship already with the Lakers, though. Hold on. You got to think about this, son. You going to take 3 teams on?
And the Knicks.
And the Knicks. Well, the Knicks is my heart. They ain't going nowhere. Right. As dysfunctional as they have been, they my boo. They ain't got to worry about that. We ride into the end with them. But with me checking out Ja Morant and the Lakers becoming like the laughing stock of the league, I gotta announce I have suspended my Laker fanship.
Wow.
I'm letting it go. And I'll let it go for the season because it's kind of like you separating from your wife. You ain't sure yet. Right. You're pretty sure, though, because you're leaving the house.
Yeah.
But before I say I'm out good, let me just go live down the street for a second. And that's where I'm at with the Lakers. I'm officially suspending my fanship. As far as I'm concerned, it died with COVID. But that's where I'm at.
Okay. That's where I'm at. Well, that is breaking news.
Breaking news.
Yeah. Well,
I am a Memphis Grizzly admirer.
Okay, from afar right now until the papers are signed.
Nah, she close.
Oh.
I'm keeping it real. She close. She ain't afar.
She right here with me. Yeah. In public, she's your special friend.
This is my special friend. Because I'm out the house. I can do that now.
Right. You just tell the kids, don't tell mommy yet.
Don't tell me because she gonna trip. Plus, I don't know if she the one yet.
Right.
You don't need to upset your mama for nothing.
Hey, and she ain't cooked for 3 times. You don't know she can make more than them 3 meals, but hey, you gotta.
Hey, she got my attention.
Right.
Ja Morant,
man.
And for all those, and I've always been special when it comes to being a fan. So I know there's gonna be people who like, dude, who for like 42 years you've been rocking with this squad, who just leaves them behind because you're gonna. Ja Morant is special.
He is. You know what's funny? I always have this constant chase of finding an NBA team. I had it like all my life. I cannot get stuck to a team. So it's always been players for me. And Ja Morant, as I keep going on this search, Ja and Memphis have been on my short list.
Mm-hmm.
But Ja, as LeBron's getting older, I need a guy that I can latch on to when LeBron retires, right?
Mm-hmm.
I can't do it with Ja. You know why? It's my big man bias. I ain't never had a favorite player or a team led by my favorite player that small. It's always been Barkley and LJ and Shaq.
Let me free you, my brother.
Mm-hmm.
As we get to this middle-aged stage of life, we don't have to be shackled.
Yeah.
At how we did things in the past.
Right.
We can be open-minded and give ourselves the freedom to try something new.
Moral of the story is get me a side chick. Is that what you saying?
That's not what I'm saying.
Give me a slimmy.
Not, see, you're going to get Ladine to want to do one eye shut. Just to cuss me out.
Right.
Okay.
So if that's what it takes, hey, Ladine, meet me on one eye shut if you got to talk. Don't speak to me outside.
Oh, man. Yeah. So, man, Al, suspended your...
Yes, fan shit.
So, is there any hope? I mean, for next year? You just going to wait for next year and see if you can renew it?
I'm going to give it some time to just see, how I'm feeling. But I really do reject when my son comes in and be like, y'all playing tonight? Y'all. I ain't with them no more.
Wow.
Go ahead.
Go ahead with that. I ain't with them with that.
Go ahead.
Oh, man. So now your kids asking you, y'all going to dinner tonight? Y'all.
Oh. I ain't with y'all.
I ain't with y'all no more.
I ain't with y'all with no more. Don't
Put your mama on the phone. Put my man on the phone.
I told y'all about that. I ain't with y'all. It's over. Out the house.
I ain't coming home no more.
Put your mama on the phone. Yes, I done met Sunshine. So,
Yo, wow.
to all my Defy Life listeners, I have met Sunshine and Jamara.
Wow.
Wow. I feel
Oh, man. Well, I mean, while we talking about your former team, I just want to give a shout out to LeBron though.
Yes.
And this is a legit shout out. Major accomplishment. Of course, as guys get older, they start hitting these milestones. So, for LeBron passing Karl Malone as second all-time scorer in the NBA. Big shout out to LeBron. That speaks of his greatness and his longevity. And then also becoming the only player in NBA history to have 30,000 points, 10,000 assists, and 10,000 rebounds. So he is on pace. And you think about this, and we'll save the debates. We've done the GOAT debate, so this is not saying anything other than what it is. When he retires, LeBron is on pace, barring anything unforeseen, to have more points than the greatest scorer we've ever seen in this league, to have more assists than the greatest point guard we've ever seen in this league, and to have more rebounds than the greatest power forward in this league. That is freaking crazy.
That is freaking crazy.
Right. And to still be dunking on folks like he did Kevin Love at 37.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Right.
I will say, as we look back on his career, for him to get to this point, and to your point, not be a scorer, says a lot about his career.
Right. And to never have the talent. If he wanted to lead the league in scoring, he could have. But to stick to his guns and play his game and not try to be, not try to score because he's compared to Mike. He wants to be better than Mike. Like to play his game for the entirety of his career and still end up with those kind of numbers, it's crazy. Because we see it all the time. We see, running quarterbacks come into the NFL and try to prove to everybody that they can pass from the pocket. Or we see guys who Russell Westbrook, who obviously can't shoot, but he's going to shoot 6 threes a game to prove you wrong. We've seen guys do this. And to hold true to who you are for now, 18 years, 19 years, is crazy.
Yep.
So, shout out to LeBron, man.
Shout out to LeBron. And the Lakers.
And the Lakers.
No doubt.
And
No doubt.
bum ass Westbrook and Anthony Davis.
Where's the grit?
I bought the chili lime or the lime cilantro chips that AD got. His face is on the front of the ruffles. I bought a bag the other day and every damn shit was broken.
That's not funny.
Go ahead.
That's not funny.
It wasn't the whole chip in that one.
Wow. I can't believe you cracking on those Lakers. I'm sure they fan. All y'all Laker fans, y'all gotta be mad right now.
Oh man.
You are.
Oh man. Any more shout outs? Because I gotta close y'all out with something. Pooh, you got something?
Nah, man, I don't have anything right now, right off top.
Al,
Happy to be
else?
back.
I think you done dropped enough on us for one night.
I'm good. Enjoyed it.
All right. So no trivia tonight, no listen to questions. So I'm gonna leave y'all with a joke of the week. Y'all ready for this?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So 3 little boys outside playing, right? And they all debating on whose dad is the greatest. So the first little boy is like, my dad's better than y'all's dad because I saw him eat 2 whole pizzas at one time, 2 large pizzas in one sitting. Second little boy was like, man, that ain't nothing. My dad ordered everything off the McDonald's menu and ate it all in one sitting. Probably twice. Everybody's like, oh, man. So the third kid was like, man, my dad better than both of y'all's dads. My dad can eat a lamp. He was like, the other 2 looked at him like, a lamp? How your dad eat a lamp? That's crazy. He's like, how you know he can eat a lamp? He's like, cuz I walked by their room, my parents' room last night, and I heard my dad say, woman, cut that lamp off so I can eat that shit.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Wow.
Is that cold blooded?
His dad's the greatest.
Yeah.
Eat a lamb.
Oh, your kid ate a lamp. Well, yeah, that's all we got, y'all. Until next week, defy life.
Defy life.
Defy life. Peace.
Peace.